You've been waiting on it all day long. Your Chiefs are world champions yet again. You're going to see something cool about being a world champion here in a little bit because it comes down to this. Everyone's fired up. And my favorite thing today, they're already talking three-peat.
Everybody
Come on.
Everybody. Patrick, since the confetti fell, our work's not done. He was talking in the interview after they won. We're not done. This man will never be satisfied. Ever.
It's absolutely crazy, dude. I'm pumped. Welcome in, folks. This is RGR Football. He's Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. Ryan going rogue around here because I'm going to come up with some silly ideas. You might like them. You might not. We're going to figure it out together because tonight is your show. You ask the questions. Every super chat gets an answer. Every super sticker gets an answer. And we're going to go through it as you guys set it up. We'll also take every topic we can and condense it down as we get going tonight. But the big takeaway is just this. There is only one. He's the Highlander. He's the last Jedi standing. There's no one else. Mahomes is one of one. And he's not just the guy that gets it done, that raises everybody else's level. He leads the charge. Yes, he does all those things. But he gets the best out of everyone around him. And I don't just mean the offense. It's the defense. It's the special teams. It's the coaches. Andy Reid would physically look 10 years older if it wasn't for Patrick Mahomes. I am convinced of these facts.
I mean, would he though? Would he? I think he's having more fun now than he ever had. I think the only reason he looks as old as he does is because he didn't get those rings in Philly. He's getting them now. So I think that it's actually giving him some life back playing.
That's what I'm saying. He would look older if it wasn't for Patrick. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I misinterpreted.
No, he's the youth movement. I'm with you. I'm totally with you. We would love to know what you guys think. Put your comments down below or in the live chat. We're going to cover a lot of it. And as Doug said, if you would like this video, just from the start, just because we're having fun the first 2 minutes, the rest of it you're going to dig because you guys are running it. If you would hit the sub, if you would hit the bell, then you get everything. And then if you want to join the memberships and get all the extra stuff, you're going to get all my game notes broken down and hopefully spell corrected. I don't know. Probably tomorrow is the day that it'll be. I was up super late trying to get everything done. I got a ton of stuff to show you guys, and we're going to answer all of your questions. We appreciate you being here. And thank you, Doug, one of our members, for setting us up right. Just 10,000 foot level before we start answering questions, man. I looked at the PFF grades. I went over the stats again. It just blows me away how it's just so multi-layered. Like the whole onion contributed to this win. It's not just Patrick and Kels and Chris Jones, who are all homegrown Chiefs draft picks, but it's guys from each of the last 3 or 4 classes coming together. It's incredible.
There's no words. Again, it goes back to what I was talking about last night with Brett Veach is legitimately one of the best GMs of all time in understanding what they want to do and drafting these players. You know, we talked this season about how if Leo Chanel isn't involved more, that was kind of a waste of a pick, right? Ended up not being a waste of a pick. He played his best game of the best game of his career last night in the Super Bowl. Trent McDuffie, they traded up to go get him, and I have information that suggests that the Bills weren't taking him, but that's neither here nor there. Regardless, they go up to get Trent McDuffie, and he's a star on the Super Bowl stage. Targeted 7 times, only allowing 2 catches for 9 yards. These draft classes, you don't see this type of output from draft classes very often. You just don't. And yes, Josh Williams and Jalen Watson had their struggles, and they have all season. That should be expected with day 3 players. It is. It should be. L'Jarius Sneed is the exception.
Tell me if I'm wrong. I'd argue they're actually above average day 3 picks.
Oh, they are. Again, it's because they fit exactly what Spags, Dave Merritt, and the coaching staff want. They don't necessarily care if you're perfect in coverage. All they want, give the pass rush a few, maybe an extra second. That is your only job. Jam for that extra 30, or half of a second, that half a beat. That's all you have to do your job. Yes, you're going to see some guys come open eventually, but I'm betting the pass rush gets there. And that's what happens when you blitz Brock Purdy on nearly 50% of his dropbacks.
20 of 42, was it?
Yeah. No, he was it was an insane amount of pressure, but this was what we talked about, run blitzes as well. This was not just your normal only blitzing on like key third downs or things like this. They attacked the San Francisco 49ers offense. And that's where we saw the inefficiency in the run game come up. That's where we saw Brock Purdy have to make some plays and Leo Chanel tackling Juwan Jennings in the backfield for a -5 loss. Things like that. Everyone contributed. Jamari Connor, really an unsung hero of this entire run. When Brian Cook went down, he was tasked with just like Brian Cook was tasked with last year. And you see how this transitions? Do you see this is one circular motion? And the Chiefs defense, the Chiefs offense right now, we'll see how they do going forward, but it's exactly what they want to do, and how they've built this team it's amazing.
It is. It won't be repeated. This team will evolve. It won't be the same. I want to go back to what you started to say about Trent McDuffie. 7 targets, 2 completions for 9 yards. Incredible.
Yeah.
The play saved the game on that Debo deep ball. I have to admit that. But when you take a step back even further from that, when you talk about PBUs in the pass game against a team that's been able to move the ball with arguably 2 of their best 3 players are pass catchers. L'Jarius Sneed was 25% that he took the ball away. 25% PBUs. He was second on this team. 43% of the targets that went at Trent McDuffie, he took away. And that's epic. I mean, out there epic.
It's incredible, man. Like I said, I don't have many words to describe how Trent McDuffie again excelled on the highest stage. Last year in the Super Bowl, he played his tail off too. He got beat one time. He got beat by AJ Brown. Okay. 2 Super Bowls. He's gotten beat one time. Got beat one time.
Yeah.
Sure tackler, physical, blitzer, lockdown. It's ridiculous.
It's all around. I mean, it's all around. And Chris brought this up on Locked On Chiefs, and if you guys didn't see that yet, it's out. You can go watch that when we're here. But it really hit me because I hadn't thought about this. So you have an entire 2 draft classes, including McDuffie's class from a year ago and the rookies this year, that have been through as long a season. They've played 41 games in the last 2 seasons. That's incredible. And they've never known anything but winning. They have ended each season with a championship. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen.
No.
And now they want 3? Oh, hell yeah, bring it on.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm tired, but I'm ready.
I'm good being tired. I'll sleep when I'm dead, y'all.
Yeah, there you go. Des, thank you for your membership yet again, and always hanging out and contributing around here, brother. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Des.
Had a lot of nice comments from a lot of nice folks today. We very much appreciate you guys hanging in with us. Jackson steps us up with the first super chat tonight. Who's your runner-up for MVP? Leo is his.
Whew, I don't care. I mean, yeah. I won't argue with that. I would go Trent McDuffie. I would go, but honestly, if we're being very honest, if it could go to, it should be Steve Spagnuolo. It should be Steve Spagnuolo because of what the game plan was. They knew that even if Brock Purdy, who was good against the blitz, he was good against it, but in the high leverage situations, that he wasn't able to do what he normally does. And the Chiefs switched it up a little bit. They usually play lots of zone behind. At least they sprinkle more zone in their blitzes than they did last night. Last night it was, we're blitzing, we're playing man coverage.
Guess what?
And there was not a soul open in most of those situations. There were eventually, but when the ball came out on the first read, I don't care if someone's open on the other side of the field, guys. I don't care. You want to post a screenshot and say, Brandon Ayuk was wide open in the end zone. Why didn't Purdy hit him? You want to know why? Because Chris Jones is barreling down. What's he supposed to do? Freeze time, look over at Brandon Ayuk, and then throw a touchdown pass? No, that stuff doesn't happen. There is a reason that they were blitzing at the end of the game, because the first reads were going away from Brandon Ayuk and from Debo and from Kittle. It was going to the Juwan Jenningses of the room and the other players. They don't get open as quickly. So they felt more comfortable in the first reads being not some of those players. And then it ended up working out for him. I think both of the pass deflection late in the game and then the missed throw were both to Juwan Jennings, if I'm not mistaken. And that's exactly, and those were third down plays. On third down, they went to Juwan Jennings, and they weren't there. So I would have to give it to C. Spagnuolo. The game plan, the blitzing, the way that everybody bought in and gave it their all.
Yeah.
Steve Spagnuolo.
That's fair. I, too, would go probably Mahomes, Jones, McDuffie, Kelsey, all of the players on the field. Because I give Chris Jones part of that respect that you're giving to Spagnuolo, because he had to rally the troops from the player side. You know what I mean?
For sure.
He had to wrangle that. So they did finish, to your point, though, only 25% on third down efficiency. That's incredible. 3 out of 12. It's nuts. Jackson, thank you for your question. We appreciate you very much. Steve, can you explain the similarities and differences of how the Chiefs built their teams with Brett Veach versus Carl Peterson? Okay. Well, off the top of my head, and I have to go back because I came to Chiefs Kingdom in the early 90s. Part of this had already been done, but it's kind of the polar opposite. You have the quarterback in Mahomes, right? And you've been going through Fish, Schwartz, who else can step in now? Juwan and Donovan, fill-ins. Whereas it was the line that was built. Carl got the front done so they could run the ball. And then it was Elvis and Rich Gannon. And you got to the point where, holy crap, if we don't upgrade the quarterback, we ain't going anywhere. We got to go get Joe Montana of all people. You know what I mean? So it was flipping of whole concepts. But I do think that was because of the era, because it was still a run-first league. And on the opposite side, it was, hey, we're going to get pass rush. We're going to go get Derek. We're going to get Dan Saliamua. We're going to put in Neil Smith, and we're going to attack the opposing quarterback. We'll get the other guys. We'll bring in Dale Carter later. We'll go get James Hasty, right? We had Jerron Cherry before this. We're going to fill in with some more guys in the back, but it was pass rush first. Whereas this is, as we're seeing, is like, oh, we're going to build it all at the same time. We're just going to replant the entire secondary all at once. Those are the differences that I see.
Yeah, I'm not going to be. I was about to say, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I couldn't tell you.
It was a different day. Thank you, buddy. Great question, Mike. Do you agree that Coach Reid's supposed strategy of go for 2 if they got the ball first in OT and if they scored a touchdown? Also, go for 2 if they got the ball second and are down by 7 points. I mean, you play to win the games, right? I mean, I'm not Herm, but why not?
I don't think they would have gone for 2 if they got the ball first. I think that the explanation that I heard is that if the 49ers scored first, then the Chiefs were going for 2 no matter what. And I have zero qualms with that, because at the end of the day, let's say they get a touchdown and tie it up. That means the 49ers have a chance then to win the game anyway on that one last possession. Okay, you only need is a field goal. So idealistically, either you lose there or you lose now. Okay, you trust your quarterback in that situation to win the football game, and I can tell you right now, there was a 0% chance that they were not winning that football game as soon as the field goal was kicked. 0% chance. And the idea, again, after the field goal, now you know I've got all 4 downs. We have all of this. We have all of this in front of us. We don't, and it shows you in the preparation. They talked about how in training camp they had meetings about the overtime rules. They talked for the last 2 weeks about how if overtime gets here, this is what we do. We heard Kyle Juszczyk say, we didn't know. We didn't know. We didn't talk about it. I assumed that if we got the ball, we'd go down, score a touchdown, and win. That's a direct quote from one of the players that played half the snaps for the 49ers last night on offense. They did not know about the overtime
crazy.
rules.
And I know Kyle tried to say that, hey, we go over it every week. Well, clearly not.
So I think he goes over it with his guys, and he did not relay the information to the players, which is the wrong thing to do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of criticism out in Niners country today. I talked from some folks out there. Shout out to Santa Clara FD, some of my buddies out there. And it does seem that there's a lot of finger pointing at Kyle Shanahan. I'm not prepared to go there, but I will say this. I didn't hear any of his comments, Micah, or Andy Reid's on this. I would have been tempted to go for 2 as well. If you got the ball first and you got in the end zone, because I do feel that there's a pressure element to this for both Kyle Shanahan and certainly for the young quarterback. I probably would have gone for 2 and tried to double that pressure onto them.
Why not? I get it. I think I don't know if they would have, but I'm just saying that what I heard from the interviews and stuff that wasn't mentioned. But yes, I got no problems doing that because again, I don't think the Chiefs would not have scored the 2-point conversion. I don't. They had Tom and Jerry for the red zone in overtime. They didn't use it until then. Until that moment, it was not even thought, which tells you this layered approach, this thought process, the game plan in the second half was executed to perfection. They had it all planned, and the 49ers did not.
And that's an issue. You can't get 3 quarters through a game and just make it up as you go along after that. You got to know where you're going.
Yeah.
Micah, is Creed hurt? His snaps have been low for weeks. Great pod. Thank you for that. Don't know. I mean, he's an offensive lineman. Everybody's hurt. It's just to the degree. I don't think he's hurt enough to affect his snaps. I think it's a concentration thing.
I don't know if they're even that worried about it. Maybe Patrick is like, look, I know you're trying to get to your block. I used to play shortstop. Like, I can get down there and get that. Maybe as he gets older, he'll be like, hey, I don't want to be bending over every single play.
Metal. How about those Chiefs back-to-back rings? I wanted your thoughts on the Chiefs potentially drafting Guyton, Paul. Who's Hogan? I don't recognize that name.
Some of these names I can't quite make out, Metal Rocker.
Mason Smith is the DT, right? And that's Colorado State's tight end Holken, who is on my sleeper list for the Chiefs, by the way.
Huh.
He's a day 3 dude, and I think you guys will dig him. Guyton and Paul in particular. Oh, Paul Hogan. Okay, I thought you meant Patrick Paul and a guy named Hogan. Okay. I don't recognize Paul Hogan either. Guyton, the OU tackle, and Patrick Paul, the Utah tackle. I think those are both day 2 options. That if they go wide receiver first and they want to take the weapon, I think those are some guys that they could come back and target on day 2. I'll have to look at Hogan. Like I said, I like Hogan. He'll be later in the draft, but I would color him as built thicker than Noah Gray, but runs more like a wide receiver.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I like it.
I like Guyton a lot.
How are you feeling, Cody? Because I'm tired. I got to tell you, I was up till probably 2 a.m. and I had a 7 o'clock call. So it's been a day.
I'm doing fantastic.
Well, I'm glad you're happy. That makes one of us.
I'm great. I'm feeling great. And I was I was up at 5:30 this morning. So yeah, I've been good to go.
Here, I'm gonna change sweatshirts. I forgot I had this one on. So we'll talk to Micah.
All right, Micah, thank you for your question. The 49ers. The missed 49ers play. Oh my goodness. I'm going to start this over because I'm just tripping over my words. I say I'm good to go, but here I am acting like I'm really tired. The missed 49ers PAT or muffed punt, which was more important. I think that the muffed punt was more important because it gave the Chiefs the momentum that they desperately needed. After a punt going 3 and out, there wasn't much going for them. They finally got in the red zone. They got the touchdown on the board, and it gave them the confidence to keep going. I don't think it would have mattered as much, the missed PAT. I think that they would have changed some things in the way that they attacked the 49ers defense, specifically at the end there, maybe gone a little bit faster. It also would have allowed them to use their timeouts a little bit more, a little bit earlier in that last drive. If they needed a touchdown, I believe they could have gotten it there too. So I go with the muffed punt because it gave them that momentum to be able to get in field goal range and to be able to score at the end of the game.
I would have agreed. Des, hope you're doing well. Thanks for the super chat, buddy. Schefter reported about redoing Mahomes' contract. How much cap space can be freed up by doing that? It varies. I believe it is up to 26-ish, if I understand correctly. We're going to do a deep dive on the cap on Locked On Chiefs this week, or probably next, folks. So I'll know more then. But if I remember, I played with it in early season. I want to say it was 26 they could get back.
Okay, that'd be cool. I was thinking it was close to 30, so that makes sense. You can convert quite a bit of, at least half of his cap hit to signing bonus, right? Like that's how that works. That's how that's going to work.
Yeah, it's his prorated bonus. You can then convert to base, and that allows you to change it. Is the way I understand it. I am not as cap versus Chris is, so
me either.
Oh, it is what it is. Thank you, Des. But yeah, a significant chunk. As I understand, they can get to like 50 mil in a couple of moves. Again, with both L'Jarius and Chris, if you were to re-sign them, getting low bases first 2 years, that would be the goal. Thanks, buddy, as always. Time Sacks. Re-sign McCole for 1 or 2 years, or am I crazy? What do you think?
Nah, I mean, nah. I don't know, man. Like, there's just at this point, there's just too much. There's too much. You gotta cut the fat. And yes, he made up for his problems, but let's not forget he got quietly benched against the Baltimore Ravens. Do not forget. And I told you that his speed is important to this offense. But I think the Chiefs are going to be drafting a player with speed in the first round that will bring you a lot of what McCole Hardman does, but can do more. Xavier Worthy, y'all.
I'm glad we're on the same page. I mean, if you're gonna stretch, let's stretch.
Let's go.
Time Stacks, I will put one caveat on that. I believe they'll let them test the market, whatever. If they're gonna have a free agent plan and McCole doesn't get picked up elsewhere and it gets to the third, fourth, fifth wave, you could see him return on a cheap contract just because of the familiarity. Just like when they said, "Hey, we really don't have it. We're going to go get somebody who knows the offense."
That's true. I'll agree with that. As much as I don't want to.
I know I get it. Hey, Cody, how sneaky of a good deal was the Cullen extension that we just found about this morning, folks? Thanks to Pat McAfee getting Schefter to admit it. I was very curious when it was going on that we heard, Joe's being considered for coaching in college as well as DC positions. And then poof, it was quiet. That tells me that was the agent leaking some of that. And he probably just got an extension and a nice raise. And, that was gamesmanship, in my opinion. I know nothing. I have no inside source. No one's told me about this except Adam Schefter. So I ain't got nothing, but that's what it feels like.
I'm telling you guys, I think that most of the stuff was made up by people at Michigan who maybe wanted to do this. I'm not lying. I really do believe that they were trying to get something out into the ether to saying, well, we got Joe Cullen coming in, so we're going to be good to go. And then they use this to get an extension in Kansas City. Like that's what it felt like the whole time.
Well done, agent guy.
Yeah.
That's your job. Caroline, thank you, buddy. Congrats, Dan, for your point predictions. Well done, buddy.
Thank you.
Where is the DT hotspot in this draft as of now? Would love to touch base soon. Y'all are the best. And Caroline, I owe you an email, and we'll get together and figure out something here very shortly now that we can shift gears next week.
Yeah.
DT hotspot. You got an idea?
It's like day one, early day two. Like that's the hot spot for defensive tackle. There's going to be some guys that go on day one and day two, like second round. After that, it dries up pretty quickly from what I understand. And I'm not deep into the defense tech class, but I know that it is quite top heavy. Like there are some very good players that are going to go. You might see 2 in the first round. Like I'm no joke. Both of the tackles from Texas could very easily go. We know the The tackle from Illinois will be going in the first round. Like
Newton.
this is, Newton is going to. So there's really good players on day 1 and then day 2, and then I think it might be more just like scheme specific players at that point.
Yeah, I agree with you. I could see Sweat, Jenkins, maybe a couple other guys go in 32 to 50, and then there might not be another one until the 80s.
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, there's a drought there in the middle.
We gotta get going here.
Oh, good Lord. All right. Speed round already. Okay, Doug.
We got lots of questions.
You were right on Leon McDuffie playing really good. Thanks, Doug. I appreciate that. Every now and then, the goose gets the gander. I just love it when they play into what I see them being able to do. So thanks for
yes,
saying that. I appreciate it. Do you think Veach priorities after finding a way to get Snead or Jones back is to bring in a wide receiver in free agency? And if so, who is the top option? My vote would be Ridley or Boyden Higgins / what do you got?
So I like Ridley, but we have to kind of take into account that he's probably going to be back with the Jaguars. I feel like that's pretty similar to what we're doing. And exactly. He's turned 30 this year, and he didn't look great for most of the season. Higgins is out of the question, in my opinion. He's going to be too expensive. There's no reason to even go that route for a number 2 receiver. I'm not there. And Boyd, a good slot receiver. I wouldn't have any issues on a lower-ish contract. If he's asking for like 10 plus, no thanks. I still think it's going to be trying to find a cost-effective veteran in free agency and drafting a wide receiver.
I think that's probably the way that it goes as well. And I'm going to dig into the free agent class here. I'll be traveling this weekend, folks. So we're going to prep some content for you for while I'm gone. And while I'm traveling on planes and stuff, I will be looking at this free agent class in depth, particularly at the wide receiver spot.
All right.
I hopefully there'll be a couple more options than what we know is coming, and we'll see where we get there. Speaking of options, I have a couple things I want to show you guys because right now in the RGR store, pretty happy with the way that it's going. You can check it out here. If you want your Dynasty goods, let me get you some because really happy with the way that this came out. You can see the triple, and it's got all the years underneath it. You can get that in red and black, the whole 9 yards. It's over here, and there's going to be links to the store in there. And for you Taylor fans, I know there's some of you out there. If you want to get this one, the World Championship, Taylor's version, we thought we'd put that out there for you too. So
I'm going to be getting something like that for myself. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, right. There's a bunch of stuff, and it's a unique situation. I'm glad we didn't see a proposal or anything like that. Like, enjoy the night for what it was. But for those of you that are Taylor fans, you can get in there. If you're not, no worries. There's plenty of other gear in there. If you want to support us, that's a great way to do it, as are the Super Chats. We appreciate everybody who's in here working with us and helping us keep going. Because you guys know how much we put in. Unfortunately, we don't get much time off because, free agency's around the corner and then the combine, and good Lord, we're off and running into the next year. So, going to be what it is. But, hey, seems like our defense shut down Kittle in Spags we trust. I was actually a little surprised by that. I thought he was the guy that maybe because he's had a quiet playoff run, they might try to focus on. I think Kyle Shanahan blew it there as well.
I'm not sure what happened. I hopefully we'll be able to watch the tape tonight because it looks like it's got loaded. We'll see. But I didn't see him running any deep routes against these linebackers, which I thought was a little weird. Didn't make much sense to me, but he was blocking an awful lot. And I've heard a lot about how tight ends, they're more valuable if they block, right? They're only good if they can block, right? So maybe Kyle Shanahan was just trying to prove that George Kittle's the better tight end, right? Because 2 for 4 is his stat line. When Travis Kelce's catching 9 passes for 95 yards, you make the case on who's a better tight end. That's all I'm going to say.
They do have the superior fullback, though, and I'm a little pissed about it.
Yeah, they do. But I'll be honest, I like seeing Noah Gray in the backfield.
I know. I dug that as well. And I'm not sure about the Rashid thing. I got to rewatch before I'm going to be comfortable with that. John, hope you're doing well, buddy. Overview-wise, who do we keep? Who do we let walk? Who do we sign? Who do we draft? Do we get this three-peat? RG is the best Chiefs podcast ever. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. That's not a statement.
Thank you.
Question. Cheers.
Appreciate you.
That is a hell of a question. It might take me a whole show to run down, but I'll tell you this. You keep as much as you can of the guys that just won you a championship, as much as humanly possible. And you let some of the guys that didn't perform walk. After that, it's all what can you do to fit the puzzle pieces in my opinion.
That's it. And they've done a good job of filling in the puzzle pieces. So you might see some players not back, and that's the nature. There's going to be some turnover. There's nothing you can do to always bring everyone back. And honestly, I think it helps to turn some players over. Like obviously this team was largely intact from last season, but there's going to be some. There's going to be some here. There's going to be some turnover, some new players, some new blood. The draft is going to get younger. So I'm excited.
I am as well, because every year, and I say it every preseason, I'll tell you guys now, every team is a little bit different. It evolves. And like we've seen Patrick evolve and the offense evolve and the team evolve, it will do it again right after Wednesday when they finish their parade. So
exactly,
be on the lookout.
I'm going to be at the parade, everybody. Bringing my daughter, and I don't know when to get there and I don't know where to park. So if you guys could help me out, so those of you that may have been there with your families, at me on Twitter at InHarmsWay19 so that you can give me your best suggestions. I appreciate you.
Thundarius, when you get here, give him some pointers. I know you've been down there, and we'll hook you up otherwise. Do they get the three-peat? I mean, there's absolutely no way for me to tell you that now, except for the fact that I know that they're already thinking about it. I got to see what this roster becomes through its evolutions. By the time we get to camp, I'll have a better idea, and we'll definitely be talking three-peat in camp this year.
Yeah, wait till training camp. We'll have a much better idea about that question.
I just love the fact they brought it up. Like, didn't even take a breath to smoke a cigar or have a drink. I mean, damn. Oh, how about Dan Harms getting a Michigan championship and Chiefs back-to-back all at once? It is kind of your year, isn't it?
It's very nice. The Red Wings are playing really good hockey. They're looking at the play that might make the postseason. I'm happy as a clam with this sporting year. I'm having a fantastic time, and I appreciate you, Mike. Very much appreciate you. Been a hell of a year already.
Well done. Ruthless, hope you're doing well, buddy. I always want to know what's the difference between Jameson Williams and Troy Franklin, and what's the similarities. I have my thoughts, but you've done more work on Troy in particular.
This is a good question. Jameson Williams was not a nuanced route runner. He's still learning the game, quite frankly, learning how to stop in zone. And that's why him going to Detroit was a really good landing spot for him. He's a huge deep threat that has that acceleration, ball tracking, and really just ability to get on those safeties quick. Troy Franklin is more nuanced in his ability to sit down in zone, attack zone, and he's a better route runner right now. The difference is what we're seeing right now is I think Jameson Williams plays much better through contact than Troy Franklin ever will. I don't think that he's going to be able to play through contact in the NFL. And that's why he's been falling down my rankings a little bit, because honestly, I think he's pretty weak, and that's going to get exploited big time.
Yeah, it's difficult. And I was going to say off the beginning, especially in the stem, I feel like Jameson's aggressive. Like he understands that he's got to go take his route rather than just get off the ball. He will go after some of these DBs, and he was making catches through. His ball tracking can be a little off. He lost the one against the 49ers that would have won them the game. But he's got more ability to take the ball through contact and catch the ball through contact than Troy Franklin does, from what I've seen on his tape. And you guys, I know that we are celebrating the Chiefs, but I do want to say that all of our draft work, we were already grading. We're doing the whole 9 yards. We took this week off to enjoy this ball game, but it's all going to be on NFL 33. The draft guide will be on Rogue APC. The athletic matrix will be out just like normal. Our friend, who you guys know from this chat, Jeff Porter, is already working on stats. Yeah. Gary's going to help with some machine learning. We're going to have all kinds of great stuff. So make sure you get signed up at NFL33.com. That's our Substack. You do have to subscribe. It is a little bit of cost, but it'll be definitely worth it. And get prepped for the draft guide at rogueapc.com as well. Baker, can you rank the last 3 Super Bowls we won? And throw out the early one, right? What are the criteria, Baker? I don't know. Like, for me, it would be emotion, but what do you think?
So I think the first one is probably is just that overwhelming. They finally did it, right? They did it. It's the first one. This one would be next.
Yep.
The way that I personally feel about this one, and I would imagine the players, you could tell that Patrick, after the game, when he's laying on the turf, this one was different for them. The way that Andy Reid, like hugged and kissed Chris Jones, there were different emotions for this entire football team because of what it meant to go back to back. They failed the first time. They got their teeth kicked in by the Buccaneers. That was a really under-discussed point in this entire. They know what it felt like to have the opportunity to go back to back, and they got kicked in the mouth. This time, they took the punches early, and they were able to come back and win in overtime. That just separates it. Honestly, I would say this one maybe even feels better than the first one because of how they won it, and in the nature with this defense with Patrick in the fourth and overtime. There was something different.
Yeah, I agree. Emotionally for me, like reaction to the ball game, 3 would be the first one because, like you said, it was new and Wasp was a hell of a play. Second would be this one for everything that you just said and the fact that they had bet all year to do it. But the top one for me would be the Eagles because of the Kelsey to Kelsey factor. And the tush push that was unbeatable. Nobody can stop them, they said, going into that one. Well, I hate to tell you, 15, the boys in red can pull that shit off. So hey, let's go. So that different perspective, not the analyst side, but the emotional fan side.
I got you.
That's the way I would do it. Chris, hope you're well. Any way that we can keep Snead and Gay? Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
My question is, can you get something done with Chris too?
Yeah.
You can keep 2 of those 3 guys. And Willie being in both those scenarios, probably, which I love, and Drew Tranquil as well. I don't think Drew Tranquil got as much playtime as I thought he did last night.
He got half the snaps.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that. But I will say this: they wouldn't be here without him, and so I think he didn't get quite as much deference as I would have given him.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do what I can here, guys. I don't think we're going to be able to get to all of the questions that we have just in the chat and all of this. You guys, thank you for all the questions. We might have to do maybe instead on Friday, another one instead of a game plan because we don't have the game plan. Maybe Friday we do another one to answer more of these questions because obviously we love and appreciate all the support for you guys that you guys continue to give us. But I don't want to leave you hanging out to dry. I really don't like to do that. And I see the questions coming in. I see that, my wife wants me to be out in a reasonable hour and not like 2 hours here. I would do it. I would, but I want to make sure you guys get thoughtful questions and thoughtful answers that aren't just sped through. So maybe Friday we get another one in the books for you guys.
Yes. Let me tackle a few and we'll hit the next super chat and then we'll keep it to super chats from there. So folks, let's put out the call for super chats if you want on the show tonight. I'll just run through these. Gary, who's the number 1 re-sign? It's L'Jarius Sneed for, I do believe, both of us.
Both of us. Yep.
James, well put. The Chiefs are the new Patriots. And pretty soon, everybody's going to be snickering because Pat Mahomes is the new Tom Brady. Corey, during the broadcast, they mentioned ineligible receiver downfield in the 49ers' first TD. Was that the case? And if it was, the Chiefs, it's all that we would be hearing about. I agree. I don't recall that, and I don't remember seeing it.
I never saw it, and I don't really care.
Well, yeah. We'll review when we see the film as well.
Sure.
Corbin, is it okay to ask about Creed's snaps? He nearly causes the game with Pat's ankles. I mean, yeah, that could have been a significant play, and it is certainly okay to ask. I think he'll tell you that, hey, I gotta clean that up.
For sure.
That's about all I can tell you. Will these every year deep runs of the playoff ever catch up to the Chiefs? That's a great point, James. And yes, unfortunately, part of this, I believe, especially with Kels and especially with getting off the ball on the defensive front and having to have a rotation of 7 guys, is because of back-to-back seasons, 20-game seasons, year after year after year. They got to find an enhancement to their recovery. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Steven, one of our members and a supporter, appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you, Steve.
They all said this last year was the year to knock off the Chiefs and they won the Super Bowl. Then they all said that this was the year that they would beat them. NFL screwed up badly. Absolutely. This was the window. If you wanted to knock Patrick Mahomes out of a championship, this was the window and you missed it.
Just remember, guys, down year.
Rebuilding.
This is it.
Yeah.
This is what a down year looks like in Kansas City, y'all. This is what a down year looks like.
And it's one of our least popular designs on the RGR store, but I do want to remind you guys of this one because I made it last year, and it's fine if nobody really likes the graphics, but this is what it says. This is what a rebuilding year looks like in Kansas City. It's a damn trophy.
You can add LVII.
Right. Yeah, I need another eye on that one now, don't I? Okay. I'll figure out something for that next week. But yeah, great point, Steven. And again, thank you for being a member. Thank you for the support here as well. Cav, if Mahomes gets a three-peat, does he become the GOAT over Tom Brady in y'all's opinion? Absolutely.
No.
4 total championships and 3 in a row. I think trumps 7 overall.
It unfortunately it doesn't. It just doesn't because it's 7. The longevity aspect in the moment, it'll be better because right now Mahomes is better than what Tom Brady accumulated in this time. It is, but at the end of the road, it's still 7, not 4. That's the key difference for me. I think he's going to go down as the GOAT. I do. I believe they're going to do that. But there's still 7. Okay. I respect it too much to just say that it never happened, essentially.
That's not what I'm trying to say, but that's a feat that the greatest of all time was not able to achieve. And I will say this.
He got 7, and Pat hasn't gotten there yet. So
I get that, but 3 in a row for me would do the trick. Like if I'm in the Hall of Fame voting room, I'm arguing that one as succinctly as I can. Maybe we're going to need Seth because we need we need a lawyer's argument there rather than mine. But you know what I mean? It might get to that.
I got you.
Thanks, Kev. Great question. Steven, again, thank you twice now, buddy. Appreciate it. The league should be terrified because I'm more than confident this team is going to get better. And I agree with you, especially on the offensive side. This defense was pretty damn raging. I don't know if they're going to be able to improve a whole lot on this defensive side of the ball.
And I don't know necessarily that they have to improve a lot, but they can diversify a little bit. Maybe bring in some different bodies at defensive tackle and just kind of, because you can't stay consistently the same in the NFL. You have to change year to year a little bit, just a little. And with guys getting a little bit better, maybe Felix next year takes a huge step forward. That would help. George Karlaftis keeps getting better. And that's kind of what it is now because you have your identity. So the defense might still be what it was this year, but next year has to be the offense getting back to running game efficiency like they did in 2022. Like that's where they kind of have to go back to.
I'm with you. And folks, we're going to answer every single super chat tonight, no matter what, and we'll pick a couple as we go just so we can finish on time. Doug's is important. Which O-line player do you think played the best, and what are your thoughts? This is going to sound a little weird. I think Trey Smith had the best night out last night.
I don't think I agree with that, but
okay. What do you got?
It would be Creed outside, even with the low snaps.
The snaps.
Even with the snaps, I think he was best. I think late in the game, Jawan Taylor was fantastic. I think late in fourth quarter overtime, he was awesome. I really believe in he raised his game. That right side in those moments was really good. It really was. It was one of the reasons that Patrick was able to get the ball out and he could kind of move to his right a little bit, step back into the right. So I think that right side, Trey Smith and Jawan Taylor in the fourth quarter and overtime stepped their game up a lot. And Donovan Smith had a rough outing, pretty much all night.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like he gave his best as long as he could.
Yeah,
there'll definitely be a different solution in that.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Lots of respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Outgunned all night.
Yeah. We're going to keep going through these, folks. If you have a question in there, we're not going to get to it tonight. We will do another Q&A on Fridays. We'll just move the Fridays or whatever the second stream is every week. We'll move that to a Q&A as well. We're going to hit all the super chats and members right now after CD. Thank you, Doug. Would you draft another corner, or do you think Williams and Watson will be serviceable moving forward? Thinking that Snead leaves. I think you move forward with those guys and Najee Johnson, understanding that McDuffie can go back outside if Najee is your nickel. So it's not the end of the world, but I do think you fight to keep L'Jarius Snead.
Yeah, I think you do, and you probably have enough. There's no reason not to. At this point, you can't count on Nick Jones developing. You can't assume he's going to. You also can't just assume that Najee Johnson comes back and plays at the level he was after injury. So there are some parts to that. On day 3, they have identified players. So on day 3, you can take some stabs or a stab at cornerback if you find a guy you like, for sure.
I like it. Justin, Pat is the Chiefs' all-time leading rusher in the postseason. It's crazy, isn't it?
Insane.
I mean,
insane.
And that's I heard some arguments from some people today that Patrick didn't outplay Purdy by that much. I completely disagree with that. Not only with his legs, but like a 14-point difference in completion percentage. I know the yardage wasn't much different. He did throw the INT, but
it was like 80-yard difference. It was like an 80 yards difference. Yeah, that's still a lot. It was over 300 yards.
I agree. 333, right?
Yeah. Well, what are we doing here? Can we stop this? You don't need to make Brock Purdy feel better. You don't have to do that.
Not our job.
He played fine. He played well. But the difference is that he did not elevate his game in the fourth quarter and overtime. He was a function of the offense. And in the big moments, the Chiefs defense got him. On the flip side, when the 49ers tried to blitz Patrick, he burned him. And then they forced Kyle Shanahan to use a timeout when Wilkes was like, we're going to do the same thing. He said, no, you're not. Because that man on the opposite side will burn you. Spags had zero worry about Brock Purdy doing that in those moments against man coverage and those receivers doing it. There's a big difference in what we saw in that fourth quarter and overtime. Big difference.
I agreed. Real quick, Tipsicle, who are your Mount Rushmore of QBs? So top 4 of all time. Who do you have, Dan?
Tom. I mean, Tom, it's Patrick. I think it's Montana, and pick your best guy. Honestly, it doesn't really matter to me at that point.
No.
But I would probably put Aaron Rodgers, not based off accomplishment, based on talent alone. You could argue him, Dan Marino. I mean,
I'm with you on your top 3. Joe Montana.
I'd have to go through like the list. Steve Young would be in contention there too. Like there's a lot to go through for that last spot. Like I don't have all of it off the top of my head. It's tough for me to do that. But those 3 are set in stone.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Just off the top of my head, I know he's a quirky old man now, but in back in the day, Terry Bradshaw was BMF number 1.
I knew what you were doing. I knew what you were doing. I was like, yeah, I get that for sure. Dude, I respect the absolute crap out of what he was doing with the Steelers. Boy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, so Adam and Adam, you guys questions are pretty close.
Okay.
Yes, cap space is going to be the challenge here. What do they need to evolve? Well, they just went back to back and they had multiple Super Bowls in a row. I can't see that any of those are anything they have to shore up. I will say this. The cap space thing and losing Brant Tillis and losing coaches that you have and not being able to re-sign your players, attrition is the number one thing that they have to battle and evolve better schemes to do right now in order to keep it together.
Agreed. Like we don't know how their cap situation and their contracts are going to look without Tillis. Like we don't know. So hopefully they have a plan in place. I would imagine that they have, because this has been coming. He's been probably on his way out for a little while, but I'm hoping. Yeah.
I agree. Should we pursue Hassan Reddick? He wants out of Philly. He's put up some good numbers, pressures, and sacks. Problem is the compensation.
He's going to be asking for a lot of money, and Hassan
Reddick contract. It's a trade.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. A trade. No. No, I'm good. It's going to be a lot of money, and he's a speed rusher that cannot win any other way. So no, I'm good.
I agree. I'd love to have him on a free agent contract that's light, like Carlos's was, or sizzles before him, but not in a trade situation. That's for sure. Show me. Hope you're doing well, buddy.
What up, man?
And thank you for the Chiefs weren't the only champions last night. Let's give a hand to Ryan and Dan for another incredible season of coverage. Cheers.
Thank
very
you
much.
Appreciate you.
Yes, and hey, you're doing a good job on your show. Keep it up, dude. I hope you're doing well. I haven't been as attentive as I would like to, but thank you for the words, and right back at you. Elks Pride, hope you're doing well. 58 for my childhood favorite. Oh, I like it. Hope someone would have mentioned DT in the trophy ceremony, but we know. Great season and coverage, you guys. Thank you, Elks Pride. And it's tough because the only person that was in the building then was Alan Wright and Clark. It's been honestly, that long.
And Norma was at the forefront this year. She just died. That was on their minds more than DT, and that it's understandable. I get it. They had the patches. Yeah, it's tough though.
It is a tough one. Elks Pride, thank you, and believe me, we remember DT, my favorite Chief of all time. Pop Bear, I'm with you on the three-peat, man.
Yeah.
We would have Dan home to celebrate with us. Okay.
It would have been nice. Would have been nice,
Dad. Josh, thank you, sir. What about Leo? 2 Super Bowl stud showings. Absolutely. Yeah. Coming along. And for a guy, again, not a top pick, a guy that has a trait that they have grown around and grown him up around is paying dividends. And that's what it's all down to. Knicks fan, hope you're doing well, buddy. Another Super Bowl, baby. I like the way you put that. That should go on a shirt. Dang, I'm gonna have to do that. Okay. We're gonna skip some of the college talk here, you guys. We're gonna stick to the super chat since you guys are helping us out and supporting us.
Yeah,
we appreciate you very much. Everybody else, I'm not trying to run you off. We will get to your questions on Friday. Come back and we'll have a deeper discussion.
Absolutely.
Caddy, I don't really have a question, but some all-time play calls to wait until 3rd and 4 to blitz McDuffie after 2 minute and the corn dog for the win. And let's give McDuffie maybe the best. He deserves the Oscar for the best acting on that play, because I didn't see it coming, and I usually feel the twitch before it happens. So that was pretty good.
It's the attention to detail, the preparedness in that moment to not give it away on the biggest 3rd down in the game. That if you don't get free, you don't get home free, they might win the football game. Yeah. Granted, Juwan Jennings was strapped up by L'Jarius Sneed. He was he was not open. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't do that, the chance that he catches a contested ball, which is what he does well, is up. Didn't even give him an opportunity. Chills, dude. It is. It's greatness. It's what it is.
It's incredible, and it's only going to get better. Des, appreciate you, buddy. 12 months in a row. I appreciate that. Is there any free agent left tackles or possible left tackle trades? Trades are always an iffy situation. Nobody trades left tackles very often, and I don't think, if I remember correctly, no, not anybody worth trading for. I do not think that there's anybody in the free agent list that I would think is an upgrade from what they have in what I think was serviceable action from Wanya Morris. So it's you draft somebody to be your franchise left tackle, or you roll with Wanya and you support him best you can, much like they've had to do this year with Donovan. So, I mean, that's the antithesis argument.
Yeah.
Hey, you did it with an old man out there who struggled a lot. Yes, he had a particularly good playoff run, but, I mean, there's ways around every problem.
Absolutely.
Yevgeny, which Chiefs free agents should we keep? And thank you for the support, brother. Which ones will the Chiefs be able to keep given the cap? And that's the problem. The two big are L'Jarius Sneed and Chris Jones. But other than that, I mean, we could run down the list. I want all the linebackers back. I want Creed and Trey back. I mean, I want them all back. The only guys that I'm letting walk specifically are the wide receivers. I'm sorry, and the running back. And I want I want Jerick McKinnon back.
Yeah, sure. He's not going to be expensive, and he deserves to be back. To be very, very honest with you, he deserves every bit of it for what he was able to get back from a month ago surgery and play in the Super Bowl. Yeah, you nailed it.
Evgeny, thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Adam, with the Menhughes injury and Chris Jones likely to walk and get traded, how will they fill the hole in the defensive line? I mean, I do believe Menhughes was not just a signing for this year, but for the future to take Chris's role should they have to lose him. I believe that they will work through it. I believe Patrick's, contract talks now is to keep Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed. I do believe that. Patrick makes so much money outside of football now. He's in the Tom Brady position where he can say,
yeah,
I don't need that much. Give me the guys that I need to keep winning. So if they have to play the role, but you're right, with the knee injury, it's significant. They will draft, and I think they will go after free agent there as well. They will have a little bit of money spending. We've told you a couple of guys that we like. We'll continue to toot those horns.
Absolutely.
You see it the same way?
Yeah, it's just trying to hold the fort, right? You have to hold the fort down. I think Mike Dana coming back will be important as well, assuming they can get him to come back. But you're going to have to kind of figure it out. And FAU is going to have a huge role next year because I mean he's not going to be starting. He's not going to be starting the season. So this offseason for him is of vital importance to get him up to speed, to get him ready to go, because he's going to be a starter next year.
He has
if Mike Dana's not back.
Yeah. Adam, thank you, buddy. Des, thank you. Where do you both rank Mahomes now all time?
2. I believe he's going to be the greatest of all time. I believe it with every fiber of my being. And he is having the greatest beginning to a career that has ever been. It is. And when it's all said and done, he's going to be there.
I'm going to tell you how I feel about him. This is why I'm so conflicted about him. This is why I argue with people about Tom Brady all the time.
Yeah.
Joe Montana is a better actual thrower of the football and passer than Tom Brady ever was. Tom Brady led his team as good as Joe Montana. That's why until Patrick, I saw them as neck and neck, but I gave it to Montana because he was the better passer. Patrick Mahomes is a better passer than both of those guys. It's not close.
For sure. No, it's not.
He doesn't have the legacy yet. So the question is then, where do you weigh the success? Championships for Joe, tons of championships for Tom. Tom got the edge there. Patrick is right smack dab in the middle of them, and he will overtake everyone.
He will. Again,
I think Joe Montana's a better quarterback.
We're in the thick of it as the people that get to watch Patrick Mahomes probably do it. Just think. Don't take this for granted. Don't do it.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your 20s, Dan. 30s are going to be kind of fun too.
I'm in my 30s.
Are you? Oh, did you hit it? Okay. I feel
I'm 31.
Better about myself.
I turned 32 this year, buddy.
I like it. Holy crap. KCTV put out a list where to park this morning, Dan. Daryl, nice helping. That's good.
Appreciate
help
that.
Right brother.
I'm gonna pull this up right now so I don't lose it.
We will remind you. JT, welcome to the memberships. Appreciate you, buddy. If you want in the Discord, make sure you're at the rookie level or above. You might have to upgrade or whatever if you got one of the freebies from Minotaur last night. But when you do, you can get into Discord just by connecting your accounts. Super simple. And you had a questions too, so I'm going to hit you with that. Easily the best show on YouTube. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you for all the time that you put into this. Looking forward to the draft. Ooh, we are too. Because, man, this is addictive. Winning championships gets addictive even for us who aren't on the field.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Adam, another one. Thank you, sir. In the NBA, Bill Russell won 11 championships. Jordan has 6 rings. No one thinks Russell is better than MJ. Good point. PM15 can be the GOAT with a 3P. I'm with you.
We'll see.
The argument stands, bro.
I get it. I told you in the time that they were playing, yes, he would be better. But longevity is a thing when you're still winning Super Bowls at 40 years old. It just is. It doesn't work for a guy like Frank Gore because he didn't accumulate like Super Bowls or rushing titles. That's the difference. Tom Brady was still playing at the peak of his physical career, winning Super Bowls. That's the only thing for me, okay? That's the only reason that I'm even having this discussion.
Adam, maybe you're my new lawyer. I like the arguments you make, buddy. Knicks fan, this Super Bowl is my favorite yet. If they three-peat, Mahomes will be the GOAT in my opinion. So this was your favorite. Okay, that's super cool. It was clearly going to overtime. The interesting stat that I saw last night that didn't click to me until they put it on the screen, thanks to ESPN, they trailed by 10 points or more in each Super Bowl that he's won. It's crazy. And that just flat. I mean, I'm glad Brock Purdy made a couple of comebacks against the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers, but king of the comebacks wearing red, guys. Thank you, Knicks fan. Thank you, Tom. I've heard media say that Ingrid, San Francisco loss should be blamed on the head coach. Is this an accurate statement? Our defense played exceptional. What do you think? That's a tough one. No loss should be blamed on one person. I'll say that, and then you can elaborate, Dan.
So, no, I'm not going to put everything on Kyle Shanahan. As a functional team, I think that they had their chance to put the Chiefs away after the interception. That was when they could have turned the football game. And from that point on, it would have been very difficult for the Chiefs to come back. But just like anything, Kyle Shanahan's not out there fumbling the football. There is a very good chance that the 49ers score a touchdown on that opening drive if Christian McCaffrey does not fumble the football. That's one. And then the special teams gaffe. He needed to be louder when he realized that ball was short. And Ray McLeod was just too late getting the point across to get away from everybody. That's on him. That's on the return man. So no, like I'm not going to put it on. Are there some things that he could have done better? Some decisions he could have made? Sure. Like instead of kicking the field goal or actually instead of throwing the ball on 3rd and 4, run the ball, and then say 4th and 2. We're going to go for it. We're going to go for it to win the football game. Those are some of the decisions he could have made. But I'm not. There's too many other things that happened in this football game for me to say that Kyle Shanahan's the main reason they lost this game.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't put it on one person. That's for sure. Oh, Tom, you hit it twice.
Thank you.
I feel bad.
Me too.
What do you think? Our defense played great, and the defense did, and it rose when it had to. It wasn't smooth the whole time, but it made plays when it needed to, and it came from a number of different dudes. And that's why you can't just have a couple of stars and nothing else.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Teddy, Tyron Smith is a free agent. Yes, he is. And he's nearly as old as I am. I believe he's 33, going to be 34 next season. I can look that up real quick, but he's definitely
and he's been
there.
Injured like every single year.
Yeah, I want to say he missed, 4 or 5 games this year?
Yeah.
They made a big deal of it when he returned. That's all I really truly remember about it. But
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's a fair point. And again, if it's on Donovan Smith size contract, sure. I think the Chiefs value experience at the left tackle position more than most, and they're okay to go with a veteran that isn't as athletic or functionally strong because of the experience factor. So it makes sense. Scott, thank you, buddy. Should Nick Allegretti be a priority re-sign this offseason? Yes. And if so, what does that mean for Joe Thuney's long term? It means nothing for Joe Thuney. Joe Thuney will be the starter until Jody decides to not be the starter. But the older you get, the more often you're going to miss games, as Tyron Smith can tell you. So having an interior backup like Nick Allegretti that can step in for 8 quarters and not miss a beat, he's the 6th lineman for a reason. He'd be a starter on 12 other teams.
Yeah, for sure.
At least.
He needs to be back if they can make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, that's the longevity that you're looking for. Knicks fan, on talent alone, Pat is go. Yeah, if you're just talking about passing talent.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's the most talented quarterback ever. And there's zero question about it in my mind.
Yeah. One of one. Teddy, also, why does it feel like I'm in the minority about letting Snead walk? Funny to me considering the college pro scouts' ability to find DBs. I mean, that's true. They have shown a propensity for it, and they have been fairly consistent at finding DBs that can play. But he is so high an elite corner at this point. Even if the other guys pan out, I don't see Joshua Williams or Jalen Watson catching up to him. So, I mean, it's the uniqueness factor for me.
Yeah, and I think you still keep drafting him because then if you hit, you can replace Josh Williams or Jalen Watson, and you can keep the funnel going. So
Yeah.
Snead's leadership ability, his physicality, and honestly his ability to lock down number ones is not something that you should be, in my mind, willing to let go of. I think you have to sign him back unless he's asking for $25 million, in which case, all right. I understand.
I mean, if he's got to be the new Jalen Ramsey, then okay, then that's not something that you can deal with. Everybody's got to take a little bit less than the most they can get to stay on this roster. Great point, though, Teddy. And Tactics, we're going to end up with you, buddy. We appreciate the support of everyone tonight. All you new subs and all you new members, very much appreciate you. We will do another Q&A on Friday. Dan will do another Q&A on Friday. I will try to phone in because I'll be on a plane that day.
All right.
We're going to have some fun with it. And in the meantime, we have plenty of content coming for you. We have the most Super Bowls in the division. Broncos won their Super Bowls with Elway. And P.S. Old Man Montana better than Prime Elway. I would agree with that on Elway, certainly. I feel bad, and I feel like I gypped myself last night because doing all the live streams and doing all the stats work, I didn't see Elway do jack, and I haven't gone and looked it up today, and I want to see it because I'm betting he was crying inside.
It looks like he was. You need to go find it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful moment. But yeah, the Chiefs right now are in the prime. They're in their Super Bowl era, guys. They are in their Super Bowl era. That's what this is. You like that? You see what I did there?
Shite. For you Irish fans, or those of you who don't speak Irish, that means shit. Yeah. Okay. So, man, yeah. I'll work that up too. Tactics, thank you for that one. My wife doesn't appreciate it, but she pretty much thought the same thing. So, cheers to you guys. Another great Q&A. Our final of the in-season. Next Monday night, we move to Q&A for the postseason.
Good Lord.
Monday night is Q&A around here all year long. The rest of the schedule, we will adjust as needed. But Monday night, you're going to get a Q&A. I hope you guys are digging it because you guys did a great job setting up the show tonight. Thank you very much.
We
appreciate all the support. We're going to get Dan out of here on time, make Mama happy. Have a great Tuesday. Get ready for that parade on Wednesday. And we'll be back with – I'll probably have some thoughts on the parade as well. Take care, Dan.
I'm going to have fun, guys. Enjoy it.